Hello, sports fans, and welcome to the Scott Sports 101 early late games, post-game show, and Sunday Night Football update show. I'm sorry I didn't get to do a pregame show or the one after the early games because the late games and preview on the early games post-game show. But we'll combine it to an early late games post-game show. Going over all the action from today and update you on the Sunday night game. But first, here is today's Scott Sports 101 NFL Week 14 trivia question. There's a Browns trivia question because they played the Steelers today in Pittsburgh. What Cleveland Browns defensive lineman was selected to the 1989 Pro Bowl in his second year? And I'll have the answer later on the podcast. Well, Cam Hayward has always been good on teams before, but ones that have captured divisions, ones that have won playoff games, though admittedly not in a while. The longtime Pittsburgh Steelers defense tackle, now well into his dotage in his 14th season, can't quite remember having a group like the one that he plays on now. We have a complete team, Hayward said. A team that began the season riddled with question marks now finds itself steamrolling toward Christmas with everything on the table. Russell Wilson threw for 158 yards and 2 touchdowns. Hayward recorded 2 sacks, and the Steelers beat the Cleveland Browns, 27-14 on Sunday, even with leading receiver George Pickens watching from the sideline while missing the first game of his career due to a groin injury. Well, it took Wilson and the rest of the offense time to get going with the productive, if volatile, Pickens out of the mix. Wilson found his footing in the second half by connecting on touchdown passes to Pat Freiermuth and Van Jefferson, as the Steelers are now 10-3, moved 2 games ahead of Baltimore in the AFC North for the AFC North lead with 4 weeks left to go. 2 weeks after a messy pratfall in the snow, Pittsburgh avoided being swept by the Browns for the first time since 1988 by taking advantage of the countless opportunities mistake-prone Cleveland, who now fall to 3-10, provided. Jameis Winston threw 2 interceptions. Dustin Hopkins missed 2 makeable field goals, when the outcome was still in doubt, and a series of ill-timed flags added up to the Browns reaching double-digit losses for the 18th time since the franchise returned in 1999. I don't believe the Pittsburgh Steelers beat the Cleveland Browns, Winston said. I believe the Cleveland Browns beat the Cleveland Browns, which means they beat themselves. Winston avoided the pick sixes that have dogged him throughout his career, including last week in Denver, but did little after hitting Jerry Jeudy for a 35-yard touchdown in the first quarter that gave the Browns an early lead. Winston finished with 24 of 41 for 211 yards with 2 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. Nick Chubb ran for 48 yards on his return after a devastating knee injury on the same field 15 months ago forced him to miss more than a year. Yet the Steelers kept Myles Garrett relatively in check after the defensive star racked up 3 sacks in Cleveland's snowy upset on November 21st, and Pittsburgh's defense provided the spark that brought the offense to life. The surge began when Winston's screen pass intended for Chubb landed in the hands of 6'4", 309-pound Steelers defensive tackle Keanu Benton, who lugged his first career interception 11 yards. Najee Harris bowled over from 1 yard out. 5 plays later to give the Steelers the lead. They wouldn't relinquish. That's what good teams do this time of year. Pittsburgh coach Mike Tomlin said, "Somebody makes a play, the other side of the ball backs it up. That's what we're trying to do." Cleveland had chances to keep the Steelers within sight, but Hopkins saw a 38-yard field goal, and Breezy Azarcure Accurate Ericshire Stadium late in the first half sailed wide left, then had a 43-yarder drift wide right early in the third quarter. "I need to find a good swing," said Hopkins, who has an NFL high 9 passes. "The swings have been tough to find this year." The Steelers have scored on ensuring possession when Wilson executed a perfect run pass option by faking the ball to Jalen Warren, rolling right and finding Jefferson wide open in the end zone from 10 yards out to make it a 20-7 lead. Pittsburgh's Elandon Roberts stuffed home their own 4 to 5 yard loss on 4th down to win Cleveland's next possession, and Wilson connected with Freiermuth down the seam. The tight end stumbled into the newly painted yellow end zone to send the Browns back to Cleveland with a loss, just like they have during every regular season visit since 2004. It also sets the stage for a daunting stretch for the Steelers, who face Philadelphia, Baltimore, and Kansas City over the next 3 weeks, with 2 of these games coming on short rest. While Pittsburgh had quieted much of the noise that surrounded the team after a massive offensive overhaul in the offseason, led by the acquisition of Wilson, the Steelers understood the real test is still to come. "Why not test us before the playoffs? Get a feel," Freiermuth said. "They're all playoff teams we're playing, so it'll be great." Browns quarterback Mike Ford Jr. was placed in the concussion protocol in the first quarter. Steelers defensive tackle Larry Obijobi groined Ogunjobi, had a groin injury, left in the first half and did not return. Defensive back Dante Jackson had a back injury and exited during the third quarter. So the Browns will have to regroup, but I'm not holding my breath because they're hosting Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs next Sunday, and the Steelers travel cross state state rival Philadelphia next Sunday. And I feel the Browns will need to draft a quarterback and a kicker in this next year's draft. And I do feel it's time to send Deshaun Watson home. And right now, I got to give the game balls to the Steelers. Russell Wilson, 15 of 26 carries and attempts, 2 touchdowns and no interceptions. Najee Harris, 16 attempts, 53 yards, 1 touchdown. And Pat Freiermuth, 3 receptions, 48 yards, 1 touchdown. And for the Browns, Jerry Jeudy had 5 receptions, 64 yards, and 1 touchdown. Nick Chubb, 11 attempts, 48 yards. Jameis Winston, as I mentioned, 24 of 41, 212 yards, 2 touchdowns, 2 interceptions. But I give the game balls to the Steelers. So the Browns fall to 3-10 for the first time since 2018. And with 4 games left, hopefully we can try to be 7-10 or 6-10. But I'm not holding my breath on the Browns beating the Chiefs next Sunday. And we're going to get to all the early games in just a moment, but right now, it is time to reveal the answers to today's Scott Sports 101 NFL Week 14 trivia question. What Cleveland Browns defensive lineman was selected to the Pro Bowl, to the 1989 Pro Bowl in his second year? And if you said Michael Dean Perry, you are correct. Michael Dean Perry was selected to the Pro Bowl, to the 1989 Pro Bowl in his second year because of his exceptional performance as a defensive lineman for the Cleveland Browns. Despite being in only his second year in the NFL, Perry displayed great skill and talent, earning him a spot in the Pro Bowl. His contributing to the Browns offense were recognized by the league, and he was the opportunity was given the opportunity to showcase his abilities among the best players in the league at the Pro Bowl. And I'll have another trivia question on my next podcast. So stay tuned for that. Right now, we're going to go over all the early games. And as you know, the Lions beat the Green Bay Packers 34-31 Thursday night. And I'm sorry I didn't get a chance to do the post-game show for Thursday Night Football, but you will get one this week. But yes, Detroit beat the Green Bay Packers Thursday night, and they really Detroit. It was close. It was close, and but it was close. Yes, it was. Uh, Dan Campbell's Dan Campbell's gambles paid off. Detroit went for it on fourth and down for a fifth time to set up Jake Bates on a 35-yard field goal. As time expired, Jared Goff threw 3 touchdown passes as the Lions clinched a playoff spot with a 34-31 victory over the Green Bay Packers Thursday night. Campbell has been perhaps the NFL's most aggressive coach since taking over what was a league laughingstock in 2021, but he turned it up a notch against the Packers with a short-handed defense that he wanted to keep off the field. That was how I wanted to play that team where we are at, Campbell said. The NFL's best Lions 12-1 broke a franchise record with their 11th straight win, including 2 over the Packers, who are falling 9-4, to stay ahead of the Minnesota Vikings, who are 10-2 in the highly competitive NFC North. This will be one of those you'll never forget, Campbell said. Campbell kept his offense on the field on 4th and 1 at the Green Bay 21 with 43 seconds left. David Montgomery ran for 7 yards, barely getting a handoff from Goff after the quarterback got his feet tangled up and was falling toward the turf. It was a bad feeling, Goff said. The play ensured the Lions could try a field goal without giving Green Bay the ball back. And Bates in his 3-game winning kick this season. He hit his 3-game winning kick this season. His 3rd-game winning kick this season. Excuse me. I am so sorry. I was having trouble getting the words out. I just felt like we needed to end it on offense, Campbell said. I don't want to give the ball back, and I believe we could convert. I trust this offensive line. I trust David. Goff threw 2 touchdown passes on 4th and goal, one to Tim Patrick, who had 2 TD catches. He also threw an interception in the 3rd quarter to set up one of Josh Jacobs' career-high matching 3 TD runs. Goff found Jahmyr Gibbs open in the end zone for a 2-yard pass on 4th down with 11 seconds left in the first half to put Detroit ahead 17-7. Goff later connected with Patrick and on a go-ahead 1-yard touchdown pass midway through the 4th quarter. Green Bay took advantage of the only time Campbell's aggressive didn't pan out, denying Gibbs on a 4th down run late in the 3rd quarter from the Detroit 31. Jacobs scored for a third time on a 3-yard run, on the ensuing drive. The risk was there, Campbell said. Brandon McManus made a 32-yard field goal with 3:38 left to pull the Packers into a 31-all tie in the game that had 4 lead changes earlier in the second half. Brandon McManus made a 32-yard field goal with 3:38 left to pull the. Oh, I already read that. And the 31-all tie in a game that had 4 lead changes, as I said earlier in the second half. That's exactly the kind of game we expected. Green Bay coach Matt LaFleur said it was tough and it went back and forth. There were just a couple of plays that didn't go our way. The Lions' final drive began with Goff's 19-yard pass to Jameson Williams. He also connected with Amon-Ra St. Brown for 16 yards on the decisive possession. Goff finished with 32 of 41 for 283 yards, and 6 Lions had at least 5 receptions. The first time that's happened in NFL history, according to the Opta stats. They have great playmakers, and they just get them the ball. LaFleur said Jared Goff is an excellent quarterback, and we gave him time to throw. Jordan Love was 12 of 20 for 206 yards with a touchdown pass to Tucker Kraft early in the third quarter. They have a really good offense, but so do we, Love said. I don't think there was any extra pressure on us. We've just got off to a slow start. LaFleur lamented that someone holding the American flag during the national anthem ended up shouting at the Packers and had to be separated from them by officials before the game. He was yelling at our players and giving the throw/gesture, LaFleur said. I never seen anything like that. I would just like security to step in there and get him off the field. Packers safety Evan Williams had a concussion. Safety Javon Bullard had an ankle injury. Defensive end Lucas Van Ness had a thumb injury, were hurt during the game. Quarterback Jerry Alexander had a knee injury. Linebacker Edgren Cooper had a hamstring injury. Quarterback Corey Ballantyne had a knee injury. And wide receiver Romeo Doubs' concussion were all inactive. Lions defensive lineman Aleem McNeil left with a head injury after he was evaluated for a concussion and returned to play briefly. Offensive tackle Taylor Decker had a shoulder injury. Defensive tackle DJ Reader had a shoulder injury. Defensive end Josh Pascal had an injury. And defensive lineman Levi on Rootstrike had a hamstring injury, and they were all inactive. Well, the Packers will have to regroup. They played a good game, but they had West to play the NFC West leading Seattle Seahawks in a Sunday night game on December 15th. And the Lions will host the AFC leading Buffalo Bills next Sunday on December 15th. And right now, I have to give the game balls to the Detroit Lions right now. I got to give them to them. Jared Goff, 32 of 41, 183 yards, 3 touchdowns, 1 interception. David Montgomery, 14 attempts, 51 yards, 1 touchdown, and Tim Patrick, 6 receptions, 42 yards. Lions 12-1, and the Packers fall to 9-4. But this was a good game between them. Now we're going to go over all of today's action. The early game action. The Miami Dolphins beat Jets in overtime with a game-winning field goal, 32 with a game-winning touchdown, 32-26. And to bring you up to speed, I took Detroit and won. I took the Browns and lost. And I took Miami and I also won. And my brother-in-law took the Lions and won. He took the Browns and lost. And he also took the Dolphins and he won. So those are the picks we won on. And we agree. The Minnesota Vikings beat the Atlanta Falcons 42-21 at U.S. Bank Stadium in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I took the Vikings and won, and so did my brother-in-law Eric Hoyle. That was another one we agreed on. The Philadelphia Eagles beat the Carolina Panthers, who will, and 22-16. Philly will play Steelers next week. And and I give the game balls to the Steelers. For the Vikings, to the Eagles, I give it to Jalen Hurts, and I give the game balls to the Vikings, Sam Darnold. Tua Tagovailoa for the Miami Dolphins game. The and I took Philadelphia and I won on that one. I took Philly, won on that, and so did my brother-in-law Eric Hoyle. And the Browns lost 27-14. I told you that one. The New York Giants, the New Orleans Saints beat the New York Giants 14-11, a very low scoring game in New Orleans. I took the Saints and won, and so did my brother-in-law Eric Hoyle. He took the Saints, and he won on that one. We both won on that one. Baker Mayfield and the Tampa Bay Buccaneers beat the Las Vegas Raiders 28-13 at Raymond James Stadium in Tampa, Florida. And I took Tampa Bay and won on that one. And my brother-in-law took Tampa Bay as well. And we both won on that one. The Jacksonville Jaguars. And to round out the early games, beat the Tennessee Titans at Nissan Stadium in Tennessee, 10-6. And I took the Titans and lost. So did my brother-in-law. We both lost on that one. And now getting to the late games. The Seattle Seahawks beat the Arizona Cardinals at State Farm Stadium in Glendale, Arizona, 30-18. They did it. The Cardinals did score a touchdown in the third quarter, or in the fourth quarter, but they could not. It wasn't enough. They could not get the ball back. And I give it to Geno Smith and the Seahawks. I took Seattle and won. My brother-in-law took Arizona. He lost on that one. That was one we didn't agree on. As we have three of them. The Los Angeles Rams beat the Buffalo Bills at SoFi Stadium in Inglewood, California, in a shootout, 44-42. Buffalo had almost pulled it out, but the Rams still won. I took Buffalo and lost. So did my brother-in-law Eric Hoyle. And the San Francisco 49ers all over the Chicago Bears, 38-13. Rounding out the late games, I took Chicago and I lost. And my brother-in-law took the 49ers and he won. And right now, I am 7-4 on the picks right now. That is my record. And so is my brother-in-law is also 7-4. So we're going to end up in a tie this week because we may not end up in a tie because the other one we don't agree on is the one that's going on right now, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Los Angeles Chargers. And right now, the Chiefs lead the Chargers 13-7 in the third quarter with 5:42 remaining. 1st and 10 at the Chargers 25, and the Chargers have the ball. I'm going to go over what's gone down so far. First quarter, the Chiefs tried to score a touchdown. They couldn't do it. They got in the field goal range. Had to settle for that. 4th and 12 with the Chargers 29. White had to settle for a 47-yard field goal. It was good, and it was 3-0 Chiefs. The Chargers had the punt after going 3 and out, 6 plays, 31 yards. The Chiefs had the punt after going 3 and out, 5 plays, 23 yards. And then the Chargers had the punt after going 3 and out, 7 plays, 53 yards. And then the Chiefs had the punt after going 3 and out, 5 plays, 21 yards. It was 3-0 Chiefs at the end of the first quarter. Second quarter, Chargers had the punt after going 3-and-out. Three plays, 1 yard. And the Chiefs tried to score another touchdown, but couldn't do it. Again, Max Wright at the for a field goal. 4th and 5 at the Chargers 15. Max Wright had to settle for a 33-yard field goal. It was good, and it was 6-0 Chiefs. The Chargers had to go 3-and-out again after 3 plays, 3-and-out, 3 plays, 4 yards, and the Chiefs had the punt after going 3-and-out. After going 3-and-out, 3 plays, 8 yards, and the Chargers had the punt again after going 3-and-out, 3 plays, 2 yards, and the Chiefs finally scored their first touchdown of the game. It was the 1st-and-goal at the Charger 9. Patrick Mahomes passed short right to DeAndre Hopkins for the touchdown, for the 9-yard touchdown. Wright's extra point was good, and it was 13-0 Chiefs. And then second attempt, the Chargers 37. Justin Herbert passed short middle to Disley for the 15-yard gain, and it was 13-7 at halftime. And then in the third quarter, I guess another touchdown was scored, and hold on a minute, I gotta this. By the Chiefs, I guess it's 20. So I got to. It was second and goal at the KC3. Edwards left guard for the 3-yard touchdown, and it was it's now the extra point was good. It was now 20, I guess, to 7. I guess it's not showing it on the board here, but still 13. So I guess it was. I have no idea. It's 13-7. But the Chiefs had the punt to going. The Chargers scored their first touchdown of the game. Excuse me. Edwards second and goal KC3. Edwards left guard for the 3-yard touchdown. It was 13-7 Chargers. And then the Dicker's extra point was good, and it was now 13-7 Chargers. Chiefs got the punt after going 3-and-out, 3 plays, 9 yards. And the current drive we're on with the Chiefs with the Chargers in the third quarter. Justin Herbert's pass deep left to Smart to the KC 11 for a 24-yard gain, and that's where we stand right now. And so we'll see. Can the Chiefs hold on and get the victory, or can the Chargers come back and rally and win this game? We will see. I have Kansas City. My brother-in-law has the Chargers. And Monday Night Football tomorrow night, I have the Bengals, and so does my brother-in-law Eric Hoyo for the Bengals and Cowboys game. Well, I feel the Browns need to drop the kicker, as I mentioned, and a quarterback in this next year's draft. So we'll see if that can happen. Excuse me. Well, that's just about going to wrap it up for the Scott Sports 101 early late games post-game show, Sunday Night Football update show for Week 14. I'll be back with the Sunday Night Football post-game show once the game between the Chiefs and Chargers has concluded. But until then, always remember, be a team player each and every day in every way possible. So long, everybody. 3, 2, 1. I'm done.